Kohli takes the first ball from Kemar Roach and puts it through point. Wow, that's going to run away for 4. It bounced. There was a little bit of width on offer. It was not a full flashing blade. It was a placed shot that goes away for 4. Kohli's into double figures, 10 from 14 balls. And the Westindies, India, 21 for 1, Harmy.
Yeah, great shot by Virat Kohli. He was saying the over before, 2 balls on the back foot, not really sort of timed or any conviction with their shot in Virat Kohli, and then 2 balls that nip back, which he was looking at the pitch as he was going past.
That one Kohli allows to go outside of off stump, and again there's a little bit of nip back. It's not a million miles away from the off stump, but he allows it through to Shea.
No, it's just quizzingly looking at the pitch and trying to weigh up the surface. From Joseph's height, a lot taller Alzarri Joseph than Kemar Roach, and then the first ball, probably the first ball inside the first 6.5 overs, that has been offline and off length from Kemar Roach, and Virat's managed to get himself one out the middle of the bat and got himself a win. I just wonder if that'll be the start for the.
And he drops this one down to third man and takes a single, gets up to the non-strikers end, 22 for 1.
And that there, just the timing, just a little bit of timing. Abby, he looked as though he's in a lot more control of his movements on that shot when he just runs it down to third man, and that's the Virat Kohli that we all know and we all love. The over before was a little bit fidgety because I think the bounce of Joseph, but getting that 4 away just gives you as a batsman a little bit more confidence.
Roach around the wicket, that is an absolute beauty to Rishabh Pant. Opened him up like a can of beans. That is an absolute beauty. Through to Shea Hope. He's not playing an attacking shot at that one. He's genuinely beaten there, Abby.
Yeah, that's a terrific delivery again. Just shaping in and this holding his line and straightening up a little bit. Rishabh Pant completely opened up to that delivery. Lucky not to get an edge. But again, yeah, as Harmy was mentioning regarding Virat Kohli, he's looking in control, he's looking hungry. And when Virat Kohli is looking hungry and in control, it's not a very good sign for the opposition.
Roach outside of off stump. Pant allows this one to go through to Hope, and there's no run. A little bit wider on that occasion, and he wants nothing to do with that. Pant 4 from 17 deliveries now. India 22 for 1.
I would love to see a bouncer ball at Rishabh Pant. So far, it's all the deliveries to him have been a bit wide, full. I would love Kemar Roach to surprise him with a bouncer. Yeah, if it goes for a boundary, it goes. But there is an opportunity that he might top edge it.
We know he likes to take it on, so it would be an interesting one. Roach goes in from the crease. Pant is dropping this down at his feet, down towards the gully. Virat Kohli says no, as Pant says, well, I think I can make a single out of that. And Kohli said, no, it's all right, I'm on strike for the first ball of the next over. I'll stay just where I am. 7 overs gone, 22 for 1, Harmy.
Yeah, it's a great start. Again, mention it again at the end of each over. India haven't really got into gear yet. Still trying to work out what this pitch is doing, what a score on this pitch that would feel as though is in the game, and trying to work out how they're going to get there as well, and making sure that they're not losing early wickets, because there is something in this pitch for the both brand new balls from either end. And to be fair, Alzarri Joseph and Kemar Roach have bowled fantastically well. So far, so good for the West Indies.
Joseph goes in and bowls a short one to Kohli. Kohli hoiks this one around to Kemar Roach at long leg, single to be taken. It's 23 for 1. I'm going to get out of the way and let Jerry Kimber take over the ball by ball.
Thank you very much, Macca. It's good to be on. It's great to see India have gone with the pinch blocker role here of Rishabh Pant coming out and nudging the ball around, just what we were looking for. And with me is Jade Dernbach. 23 for 1 after 7.1 overs. Very interesting start as Alzarri Joseph comes in again. And Rishabh Pant takes one hand off the bat and he squeezes this out to point. Not completely in control there. It's quite fast from Joseph, 142 Ks. Now, Jade, we've seen a lot of wobble ball. We've seen an extraordinary amount of wobble ball. I know that Kookaburra have fixed this ball and they've put plastic under it to reinforce it. Which kind of suggests that the old Kookaburra ball wasn't that good, but that's for another discussion, as Alzarri Joseph is at the top of his mark here. And it's short, and it's mistimed pull shot, but it's going to go 2, 3, 4 bounces out to the boundary for 4 from Rishabh Pant. Finally, a very attacking shot from him. Didn't get all of that there, but he managed to shovel it over mid-wicket, and he's got 4 runs, 27 for 1.
Yeah, just back of length there from Alzari Joseph. As you say, Pant, first real attacking shot of the innings to date, but the ball just sort of sat in the wicket. It seems a little bit tacky. The ball has moved sideways from the off, but yeah, rocked into a good position there and has got full value for the shot.
As a white ball expert as you are, I would assume, as Joseph comes in, he's got 1 slip, and it's the inside part of Rishabh Pant's bat to short mid-wicket. There's no run there. I would assume that the wobble ball doesn't always work, so there must be something specifically in this wicket for Kemar to keep going back to it.
Yeah, often when you find a wicket that's a little bit tacky or there's a bit of moisture in it, that's when you get the seam to grip and do something. So certainly, as we say, the white ball doesn't tend to do a lot, but the wobble seam does bring something into a bowler's favour, certainly in these conditions where the upright seam might not go directly sideways, but when it's a bit tacky, just getting that seam to wobble ever so slightly often just puts a little bit more in your favour as a bowler.
And this one hits Rishabh Pant's pad. He gets completely confused by this. He tries to whip it up. He ends up with 1 leg in the air like a dog on a fire hydrant at a certain point there, with the bat sort of flailing away, and it hits him on the inner thigh and dribbles out on the offside. Care to explain that shot any better than I just did?
It's a frog in a blender is the only thing that came to mind, but yeah, it's a bit difficult. It has been difficult. He's been certainly watchful, has Pant, in the early part of his innings, and rightly so, with there being a bit of sideways movement, not often seen in India, I must say.
Rishabh Pant must be thinking to himself, oh great, they finally let me open, and he gets out there, awesome, flat pitch, look at it, it looks great, and now he's got wobble balls going everywhere, he's getting hit on the body, he's getting beaten outside off stump. This is not what he signed up for.
No, certainly not, but I think if he holds in there long enough, he'll be able to reap the rewards. I think this it will be a good batting surface.
Pant faces Alzari Joseph here. This is outside off stump. It's a very weird thing that happened. Maybe you can explain this to me, Jade. Alzari Joseph had a 2nd or 3rd slip in place. He didn't want that fielder. He asked for him to go on the leg side, and then he bowled an angle ball across the stumps, which luckily Pant has left. But if you could just explain that to the listeners while you take the slip away and then bowl the perfect ball for the slip.
Yeah, unfortunately, that piece of cricket there doesn't do any favours to the old beliefs that bowlers don't have any brains. I'd like to say that is not true, but unfortunately Alzari Joseph has done something to suggest otherwise there. But maybe it was a double bluff, you never know. Sometimes in international cricket you've got to try and be 1 step ahead of the batter, and maybe that was his version of being 1 step ahead.
Let's hope that's the case. Kemar Roach comes in outside of stump. It bangs into Virat Kohli's bat. It's Fabian Allen out there misfielding. You don't see that very often. In fact, Fabian Allen actually was moving too quick at a certain point there. He was almost at the ball before, but he was at backward point and he came around. 27 for 1 after 8.1 overs. You're listening to TalkSport 2 with Jade Dernbach and Jared Kimber. Kemar Roach has bowled beautifully so far, and pitch that has suited him. He's got 1 for 16 into his 5th over here, wobbling the ball around quite literally. And India have been very circumspect, even though they've sent Rishabh Pant in up the order. He's 8 off 23, but facing his Virat Kohli. Times this well outside off stump this time. Fabian Allen, probably one of the few fielders in the world who's going to stop that. And again, he's moved so quickly, he's almost ahead of the ball as Kohli tries to push that into the offside, and Allen is all over it. No run.
Interesting to know. I think Virat Kohli certainly come out with a bit more intent this innings than what we saw the other day in the first one-day international. He's certainly looking to jump on anything short. A player like Virat Kohli, with the kind of ego he plays with, he will want to seize on anything short and show that bouncer the other night was a one-off and doesn't have an issue with the short ball.
Well, it wasn't a one-off, and I'll tell you why. As Kemar Roach comes in here, his ball's on the hip, and Kohli moves across and takes a single down to fine leg. It wasn't a one-off because they put up the wickets that he's dismissals versus the Westindies, and I think he's had 11 dismissals versus seam bowling, and I think 4 of those against Westindies are short balls. Now, it should be pointed out that they do bowl short a lot to him. So, if they bowl short a lot to him, there's a fair chance he's going to go out to it a lot. But the West Indies, probably since 2015, they were the first team to really go all in on the bouncers in the middle over. Is that something that you saw in county cricket as Roach comes in again around the wicket? And this is an edge, and it goes over the top of Jason Holder at slip, which is not easy. Let's be honest. but it goes away for 4. He slashed at that, did Rishabh Pant. He wasn't in control, but he's taken a boundary.
Yeah, flashing drive there, like you say, back of a length delivery outside off stump. Rishabh Pant has thrown his hands at it, thrown the kitchen sink as well, and got full value for shot. Obviously not in control, but I think that's why he's probably been sent up the order. Deliveries like that to go after, playing his natural way. But alluding back to your point, as you said about the short deliveries, in one-day cricket, certainly when the ball isn't doing a lot for seamers in those middle overs, when you're mixing it up with spin, it's often quite a good plan to come in and bowl short just to change up the momentum of the game.
Kimo Roach around the wicket. This keeps a little bit low. I'm not sure if that was a slow ball, but it sort of died on the way through to the wicket keeper. It was about 130 kilometres, so probably not a slow ball actually from him, but certainly didn't make it through. So what we noticed in international cricket was that period where you have the 4 fielders out when batters are set. So really from the 25 to 40 over mark, that was when the West Indies at first started bowling bouncers, and then Australia started doing it. And obviously, Liam Plunkett has his kind of own way of doing it, not so much bouncers, but it seemed to be that at that stage, what you could do is if you're bowling back of the length and at the body and at the hip and that sort of elbow area, you could control the field a little bit more. This is outside off stump and slashed away by Rishabh Pant. 2 bounces down to third man. It's the second outside edge. The second time he's got away with it as Alzari Joseph throws it back in. So the idea was that you could have a deep backward square, a fine leg, a third man, and a deep point. And if they were going to hit you, they would have to hit you with a cross-bat shot down the wicket, which is quite risky. Is that something that happened in county cricket as well?
Of course, certainly when the boundaries allow you to do so. Bigger boundaries, the bigger grounds, it's a great ploy. Like you say, you got your 4-man back square of the wicket. You're asking players to play a cross-batted shot to take the highest risk to get not much reward. So that's often the plan, especially because you've got mid-on and mid-off up. You can't really afford to err on the fuller side because you'll soon get punished. But I think, like you say, Virat Kohli, that there's been a few dismissals there with the short of length. I think that's got more to do with the fact he doesn't want to let a bowler settle. We are talking about a player who averages 58 in ODI cricket, so I'm not sure it's an issue he has with the short ball. It's more a case of him trying to jump on the front foot and take the game towards the opposition.
Odian Smith is going to come on and replace Alzari Joseph. So the score is 33 for 1 here on talksport 2 with Jared Kimber and Jade Dernbach. Kohli is on 13 from 20. Rishabh Pant is on 13 from 26. We're bringing you live championship action this evening as Steve Bruce takes charge of his first game as West Brom manager as they travel to his former club, Sheffield United. We'll have all the build-up from 6 p.m. on kickoff here on talksport 2. Big bad Odian Smith. Short run up round the wicket, and that's an absolute shocker. It's gone short and wide. His wrist went all over the place. It looked like he almost dropped the ball at a certain point. And Rishabh Pant has done very well to reach and then to smash this for 4 over cover point.
An auspicious start there from Odian Smith. He's an all-action cricketer, that is for sure. But that's not the way he wants to come into the game. Short and wide one, and as you say, Pant was quite lucky to get any sort of bat on there. Had to fling one hand off of it to get somewhere near it, but it has raced away for 4, and Smith is now on the back foot immediately. 1 ball into his spell.
It looked like he was trying to bowl leg cutter. I can promise you he was in no way trying to bowl leg cutter. His action just completely fell apart there. And to be honest, Rishabh Pant was lucky to get that over the offside because he wasn't really anywhere near it. Over the wicket, straight away, Odian Smith. That's a much better ball, right in at the gut of Rishabh Pant, who tries to pull that away, gets one hand off the bat. In fact, he hasn't actually kept his hands on his bat at all in this over so far. Hits it short mid wicket, there's no run. Odian Smith's laughing because I assume he got that one right.
Yeah, it's been an interesting ploy, the kind of wide of off stump to Pant early on. I understand the way he plays with his hands out there. There can often be a risky strategy in one-day cricket with the white ball and allowing guys to free their arms. Now coming back over the wicket and cramping him for room seems a much better option in my opinion.
Odian full and wide. Talking about cramping him for room, that was a mistake. That was a half volley outside off stump that Rishabh Pant almost nicked just because he decided to swing his bat at it again. Odian Smith is all over the place. I will say about that second ball, Jade, I don't know if you picked that up. He actually hit his glove. So I said he took his hand off the bat, but he only took his hand off the